everyone, it's Bex, Planner UK. Happy New Year. Can't believe it's 2021. I just wanted to do the end of year journal tag, which has been started by Love Lynns Life and Journal with Dolly, and other journalers on YouTube have taken part so far. So I wanted to join in too. So this, I can't even get them all in, but this is my stack of completed journals for 2020. So let's get started. Now, some of these questions are going to be really hard to answer, but the first question is, which was my favourite journal? So let's have a look here. I loved all of the journals that I used this year. I think this was particularly pretty, this one, but I also like the glittery ones. This was really beautiful and had kind of different pages, so it had some illustration in it already. This one was great in terms of, sorry I keep knocking the camera, in terms of the paper was really good in terms of fountain pens. This one again, I quite like notebooks with my initial on. I quite like plain paper sketchbooks. So this was actually a sketchbook from Hobbycraft, as was this one here. So I quite like both of those. And this one, I really like the cover, but the paper wasn't as good, perhaps, as some of the other journals. I really love this cover as well. This was a £3 journal from Sainsbury's, but I think that's really beautiful. And then this was really fun for Christmas and the end of the year because it's so sparkly and lovely, isn't it? So it is really hard to choose. I think I might choose this one as my favourite though. It's lovely. It was a gift. And yeah, it's just gorgeous, isn't it? So, and I think this was when I was really, seriously getting into journaling, and a lot of these pages I think were before the pandemic. It was just as the pandemic was kind of taking hold in the UK, really. So I'm going to say this one. Now, my journaling style has changed a lot over the year, and the main focus for me is actually the writing part, but obviously I do enjoy the, decorating part, but I'm not an artist, so it's kind of just more a fun thing to do rather than anything else. Which favourite page is really hard to decide. I think I decided it was maybe one in here. There are flip throughs of all of my journals on my channel month by month. I quite like this page actually. It's quite striking, even though it's a bit boring. It's like kind of, just the blues. So it's not a really colourful page, but I quite liked the stickers and the fountain pen ink and the blue kind of theme. So this is from the 5th of January 2020. And then things like this, it's kind of a mix of stickers, stencils, fountain pen ink, like random things stuck in, a picture printed. Yeah, so I quite like that page as well. So I suppose, and this is very different to my style at the moment, but I think I'm going to be going back more towards this style maybe again, I can imagine. So yeah, let's say maybe this page, because it is a bit more cheery than the other page. But that's, there's too many pages to look through here with 11 journals, so but I'll just stick with this one. So the next question is, what were your favourite supplies throughout the year to use in your journal? And I think the one constant that gives me the most joy from journaling is, like I say, the writing. So I'd say my fountain pens and my fountain pen inks is probably the kind of favourite supply. If I had to choose one, that's the one that I couldn't do without. And in this journal from Paper Chase, unfortunately it wasn't very fountain pen friendly, and so I had to use different pens, and it kind of made me journal less during this time because I wasn't using fountain pens. I wasn't enjoying it as much as I have done my other journals. So lesson learned, I probably won't choose paper chase journals in the future unless I'm sure that they are fountain pen friendly, because it did definitely stop me from journaling as much. And yeah, the joy of it for me is definitely the writing and using a different fountain pen inks and so forth. So this journal, the paper is specifically for fountain pens. It handled it a lot better, and you can see the sheen and the shading comes through a lot better in this journal. So yeah, I'd say that was my one constant, was the fountain pen ink. That's the kind of most important thing for me. As I say, I'm not an artist, although I enjoy the creative side. It's more journaling about the writing and my thoughts, and obviously documenting the pandemic as well, which has been really important to me. So what supplies will I not use in the future? One thing that I learned is I bought some glue, which was probably cheaper than the main brands, and it was a complete waste of money because it doesn't stick anything. It was an absolute nightmare. So I would say that lesson learned, always buy a brand name glue, because glue that doesn't stick is not much good to anyone, is it? So what did you learn from keeping a journal through the pandemic? So I literally have written every single day of 2020. I think there's maybe about 3 or 4, possibly 5, but I don't think it is 5 days that I've missed. So I've been very consistent. It's really helped to get me through. Obviously, life has changed a lot in terms of having a very busy life before, and then suddenly we all obviously had to stay at home, and I had more time for journaling. But during that period, I kind of developed the habit of daily journaling. So now, obviously, I hope this will continue. And, even if it's 5 minutes a day, it's really important to me that I do kind of write something and journal something. As I say, even if it's only 5 minutes. If I've got more time, great. But at least I've kind of built that daily habit now, I think. So I think the thing that I learn is, even sometimes when you think, oh, I'm not really in the mood for journaling, I think if you just start and write something, but don't put any kind of pressure on yourself, but if you can write something generally, you get into the swing of it and it makes you feel so much better, even if, you're just recording a few snippets of the news. The way that my journaling has been, I've kind of documented how the pandemic has developed, and so I've done the main headlines from every day, and then generally after that I've gone into further writing if I want to do that. So yeah, I think it's just taught me how important journaling is, how much it helps me sort out my feelings, reflect on things, get through maybe more difficult and complex times, but also just enjoy it as a process and really kind of look forward to that time. Quite often it's quite late at night, like midnight, when I'm journaling. But I do kind of look forward to that time and miss it if I don't do it. So I'd encourage everyone to start journaling if it appeals to them. What journals am I currently using? This was my last journal of the year, this sparkly one. And actually in 2021, I'm actually going to be using more journals. So this is my current journal that I have started on the 1st of January, which was just really a coincidence, to be honest, although it has fit quite nicely and I'm quite pleased about that. So I think it's an absolute beautiful journal. It's really pretty, isn't it? So I have been looking forward to using it. I'm not sure how well it's going to hold up because it doesn't open very well. It kind of breaks the spine a little bit. But anyway, hopefully with some washi tape perhaps it will be fine. So this is my daily journal. So this is the journal that I will be writing in on a daily basis. But I actually, as I say, have more journals that I'm writing in. This is a beautiful journal, and I'm doing a 365-day journaling Better You challenge. So that's going in there. I have my commonplace book, if you call that a journal. I'm not really sure if you do, but that's where I mainly write book notes and so forth. This beautiful journal by Scurry and Peck is what I am using to do kind of challenges. So the first challenge is Junk Journal January. So again, it's maybe not a journal in the same way as the other journals that I use, but obviously I wanted to have quite a special purpose for this journal because it is so beautiful. So I don't know if you want to count that or not. And then in my ink dory here, I have my Hobonichi Weeks. No, I don't. I have my Hobonichi Cousin, which is what I always use for family memory keeping. And I also have another journal, which I have started, which is really good with fountain pens. So sometimes when I don't want to record something in my daily journal, because quite often I will show my pages on Instagram, and I also do journal flip throughs of the whole book and all of the pages, and I don't want to start blocking things out or blurring things or covering things up. So anything that for whatever reason I don't want to go in here goes in one of my other journals. And then finally I also have this journal, which is a Moleskine, which is notoriously bad for fountain pens. So this is what I call my rant and morning pages journal. So it's literally free-flowing kind of writing that may or may not make sense. I don't really ever go back and reread it or anything, but I just sometimes like actually writing in a biro and the cheaper paper, and it goes a bit crinkly. Or I can write it on fountain pens but only use one side of the page. So this is another journal that I use too. So obviously the journals that I haven't finished, that weren't in the 11 that I showed earlier, are journals that are still ongoing. So obviously I will just write until they're filled up, and then I will add them to my journal total tally at the time when they are finished. So whether that takes me 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, however long it takes. And obviously every entry is just dated, so I know obviously when I've written it. I will go into more detail about journaling and my journaling process in the future. Hopefully I'll have more time to kind of film in a bit more detail, but hopefully that gives a little bit of a glimpse in terms of this journal tag. So challenges faced in terms of journaling this year. I'd say the biggest challenge has probably been as life got back to normal, and I'm a student and I'm also working as a lecturer. So obviously as things got busier, obviously there was less time to journal, and I found that I was journaling later at night instead of when the kids are in bed. I obviously had other things to do, like preparation for lectures that I was teaching, or even writing essays for my masters and things. So certainly as life has got busy, that's probably been the biggest challenge. But I have been quite proud of myself that I have kept that consistency. So, and I have found as well that if I can prep my pages, even if it's a little bit of watercolour or a sticker or some cutouts from a magazine, if I'm really busy, it kind of really helps me to have something on the page. So even though my pages are often quite simple, they're not like the Hobonichi style, they're more focused on the writing, but at least then it gives a little bit of focus and a little bit of interest to the page, and then I can write around it. So I would say that would be my biggest challenge and kind of learning, I would say. So in terms of my plans for 2021, I am really keen to keep journaling I feel that it's very important to me, so I just want to keep doing really what I'm doing. For me, it does work with my brain, having different journals, like I briefly explained, that I use for different purposes, which I know would drive many people crazy, and they like to have everything in one book, but you just find what works for you. And I think my style just constantly kind of changes, and it depends what I need at the time. So obviously, like I say, it's always been focused on the writing, but sometimes I want to write more, sometimes I want to write less and just maybe be more creative. So I think just go with the flow really is my plan for 2021. So in total, in 2020, like I've said, I finished 11 journals in total, but obviously I did write in more than that. But yeah, completed journals is 11. So here they are, the 11 journals, and it has given a sense of kind of achievement, I suppose, at the end of the year when you look back and stack them all up and lay them all out and look at the different journals. And yeah, I'm just really glad that I found this outlet. It's really, really helped me in lots and lots of ways. I'm really grateful to all the lovely Instagram community, all the fantastic YouTubers and so forth. I hope that you have enjoyed this glimpse into my journals. I have got my December flip through coming up as soon as I can, and I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching.